Hey, greetings YouTube, performance reviews, where I give you the review from the technician's point of view, and how-tos. And today is going to be a how-to. I have here a Miele Capricorn, which was top of the line when it was made. Let's see when this one was made. Turn it upside down. You can see 2009, so 12th month, 2009. So in 2020, makes it almost about 11 years old. This machine does have the hose controls, but we're not going to concern ourselves with that right now. What I do want to show you is how to turn it on and off without the hose controls. So again, bring this to your local Miele service center. I'll put a link in the description below on how to find your local Miele service center. Doing this would of course void your warranty. This machine had a 5-year warranty at the time, so it's out of warranty. And I'm also an authorized service center, so there's that. So we plug it in, and we can see the orange light. There's a master power switch here. Now this reset is actually the filter check reset, but there is a little trick to that reset, and you just hold it, and that acts like the power switch when the hose is not attached. So we can see this one's working all right. So let's get to breaking it down and cleaning it. I remember selling these when they were new, and they were nice machines. I would still recommend picking one of these up if you saw one used, but I would definitely check to make sure the hose is in working order. If the electronics go out in the hose, which I'll show you, if this stops working, that can be a pretty hefty bill, so just keep that in mind. Oh. The bag dock is missing on this one, and there is cat litter in it. That's just lovely. Well, that Hepa filter's expired. Put that in the bin. So headphone warning right now. That's how you pull the lid off. So I get comments sometimes that I'm a little rough in these videos, but I assure you these are the proper service techniques for these machines. And if you're new to repairing vacuums, well, congratulations, you got into an industry that kind of sucks. Excuse my bad sense of humor here. That one is pretty bad. And we're going to pull this off. What I am pulling off right now is a cause of smelly. These can smell bad, especially when they've been abused. You can throw this away or rinse it, up to you. It has really nothing but cosmetics. There's 2 screws under here. We are going to, that spring just kind of went flying. We're going to pull this off. And that flies off like that. And this was still when they had the adjustable bag check indicator. So that's kind of a nifty thing to know. And when I assemble it, I'll be adjusting that. But it's kind of a pain because you have to take it on and off to adjust it. But don't wash this. Just blow this out with compressed air. Don't wash that. Now the wires, a lot of people get real scared about washing these wires. They're completely encapsulated. There's no oxygen exposure. So if you wash these wires, you just have to let it dry at least 24 hours, maybe 48 if you're in a wet state. So those are actually good to wash. Now getting to the rest of this. This is pretty foochy. So we are going to central vacuum the stuff out of here. That's as good as that's gonna get. So now comes the part that I see a lot of people mess up, and that is pulling these guys off. These guys break real easily. Whatever kind of colored plastic they made these out of, they break. So joyous. And And trying to remember where the hinge is. It has been. Is this hinge on this side or all right. So we are actually going to. Yes. We are going to just pop that. And that relieves the hinge. Again, this can break right here. These are available, no big deal. If you break one, they come individually right now. They don't come as a set. But so again, relief, bam, simple as that. Next part we're going to pull off is this cover right here. Now this can also be a set of buttons depending on your 5000 series machine, but on this it's just a cover. Now that we've exposed 2 screws, which is the whole reason for pulling those pedals off. And this is a multi-hull construction machine. It's not like some of the cheaper C1s where it's just 2 pieces of plastic. This has quite a few assemblies, as you can see. So super high quality, good stuff for Miele. So you don't actually have to pull this off. We're gonna shake the screws off. And headphone warning here. Now this is where a lot of people think I'm being real rough with the machine in previous videos, because I do have the tripod sitting on the bench, so some of this is really travels up and resonates into the tripod. But the proper service technique is a rubber mallet along the edge. You can see it separated there. And one more for good measure on that side. And once that separates, because these make a very tight seal, that just pulls off. See, this is painted. This one's actually in remarkable good condition for its age. Set that side. You can see the Miele is still mostly intact. Now here in the USA, this little guy was never used. And in Europe, he was a suction relief valve to help save the motor, but for some reason us Yankee boys didn't get that over here. The next step is, there's 2 springs in here. They can go flying. So I just like to pull them apart out and set them aside for good measure. And now you can't pull anything off just yet. Got to pull some more screws off. You can see really how nice these machines are made and how the quality that went into them. And they still put quality in them. Miele saying is forever better, and they do keep making them better and better, in my opinion. So we're just going to pull this off. This has a quick release. So there's your circuit board. Now if you change the hose out because the hose is failing, you do need to replace the circuit board and wiring loom, and they have a kit available from Miele. It's quite expensive, but that's the price you pay when you have, you know, a $1,200 machine and somebody's real rough with it. And you see there's one more hidden screw under here. Alright. So next we have these clips here, and then there's also this hose, and I'll explain the hose in a second. But the clips just come undone, and sometimes you need to give it a love tap with the mallet once you get the clips undone. This one's pretty loose. So this comes apart and can now be washed. Don't touch these with your bare hands. This is some sound absorbent material. It just makes you itch when you touch it for whatever reason. So we're in the belly of the beast. So I want to explain the hose and the cord rewind, because that's kind of a weird feature of Miele. What they discovered years ago was that the #1 reason cord rewinds were failing, again this is in the 70s they discovered this, was the tracks were getting dirty. So what they did was make the vacuum motor self-vacuum the track. And that's what that does. And that is also, when you use the Miele properly, the majority of the dirt and stuff that gets caught in the pre-motor filter. So there's a little fact of the day. Now as I pull this out, I'm going to pull the wiring harness out. This is all one assembly. Oh, that's joyous. So I can tell you what just came off. This is the cord rewind post. So when somebody can over pull these, this is what happens. Now once this post breaks, there is no fixing it. There is no washers. There is no this is what breaks. Though there's a clear part in here, and I recommend you save that and put that in legacy machines like 500 and 600 series machines. So we're going to begin this new cord rewind. It looks like that's a real shame that somebody broke that, and that's all from just over yanking the cord. All right, let's open the motor, grab the motor. Motor comes out. These motors are super tough, really well made. Let's see, it's pretty dusty, so we'll have to clean that. And then we have this. So I'm gonna go ahead and central vacuum this stuff and go wash everything. Everything here has taken its trip through my dishwasher, so it's time to put this Miele back together. And as you can see, there's a hole in it right there, but that's normal. So let's grab the cord rewind, which is kind of how it came into my possession, as the cord rewind had been overpulled and broken, unfortunately, by its previous user. And I have a newer cord rewind here. This thing cost me quite a few pretty pennies, and if you've never replaced a Miele cord rewind, they are quite expensive to replace. So I went down to my local vacuum store and picked one up. So that's the one thing I really like about Miele. Well, actually, I like a lot of things about Miele, but that's something about Miele is you can go get parts locally, and that's kind of how their parts supply chain is. If you're expecting just to be able to find this part online and order it, no, you have to go to your local Miele dealer. And I'll include a link to that in the description for those of you who are not so savvy. After a little bit of fussing about, I think I have it approximately where it should be. We're going to put these little rubber guys on there, these motor mounts. Now, I already wiped this down with Pledge, but you want to wipe that down with something to preserve it as well. And then when you put this in, you see it goes in on a slant, and these parts line up first, and then you notice the plug just plugs right in, just like so. And you can see where this stuff could get caught in the motor. So as we put this together, one crucial part is to pull a little bit of the cord out. And let's snap this guy on, just like so. And you can see the multi-hull construction that Miele uses, which really helps seal everything up, keeps the motor in its own compartment. And testing the cord rewind, making sure everything's in place. So the next thing we're going to do is put a couple of screws in, which of course they are all the same, being a Miele, which is really nice if you're in service, not having to futz around with a bunch of screws. And as you put this together, something you want to do is put the lid on, and you want to look, because these four are not actually going to go in. So as we pull, that one gets left, that one gets left off, that one gets left off, which means the other ones, the cord rewind screw in that one, must now be put in. So just use your head when you're putting these screws in, and things will come together and make a lot of sense. And you can see that the motor is really isolated. Excellent. So we've got all of that together. Now let's put our board on. Yep. There's our switch. There's our reset switch. So now at this point is where I will just test it, make sure the cord rewind is proper in supplying power. Watch your fingers, because this is live high voltage. All excellent. All of that is good. Love seeing all that. So now we can put the rest of the shell on, and color may vary. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot something, but I think it can go on like this. Let's see. the springs. They can go right in there. So now let's put the rest of the screws in this little number here. And I want to give a big shout out to our Patreon supporters. Basically, our Patreon supporters get exclusive content, exclusive videos, giveaways, that sort of stuff. So I really appreciate them, and they help support us do things like this. This is a machine I had to pay for that cord reel out of my own pocket, so that helps pay for this sort of stuff. They helped send us to the Vacuum Dealer Trade Association this year. So again, all sorts of cool stuff happening on Patreon, and a big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters who help make this channel possible. And I will include a link below for that. One more test before the rewind. That's all working. So now, there's a couple more parts we're going to put in here. And you should have a spring that looks like a mustache. And that is its bag dock. And this is the classic bag dock that they used like forever. And I never saw anything wrong with this bag dock, but they changed them to be matching with the bag collar. And that's when people started ripping them out of the machine. So, the irony of that. And you can see that pops right up, and that keeps you from shutting it without the vacuum bag in there. Now, we'll talk about everything else in a second on that, so we're just going to set this aside. And we're going to go to the lid. So the lid has been washed, actually just threw the whole thing in the dishwasher. And I let it dry for several days. I've got a box of a lot of parts behind me. I did several machines at once, so you might see me pause here to go get some parts. So this is the bag check indicator. I'm just going to blow that out with compressed air, and then I'm going to check. You can actually see at the right angle which position the bag check indicator is in. We're going to leave this alone. Just make sure this free floats in there. And as I put it together, I will test the bag check, and if I need to, I will take it apart and change that. And that's one of the problems with this model, and why they went away from adjustable bag check indicators, because that sits under here. Unlike previous models, there's no exposed screw. So that's something I'm not too thrilled with the S5, but you know, that's a little quirk. It really only affects people like me at high altitude on there. And there's two screws that go on right there. And before I put those on, I am going to put the torsion spring on here for the lid. And there's two holes that goes through. So you can see that will go in there, go in there. Excellent. And we're just gonna put this on. Excellent. So you know, if you're in the repair shop, this is the time to remember the customer's accessories. And I am just going to real quick, the angle of which this was in the dishwasher, there's a couple things that basically when it dried, it wasn't so nice. There we go. Just left a little bit of residue on there. Put that on there. And we missing a crevice tool. One crevice tool. All that goes in there. Simple as that. So now your lid is assembled. Oh, we have two screws to go in here, but I'm not going to do that until I check the bag check indicator. So we're going to set the lid aside. And now we're going to do the rest of the magic with these pieces. And this is, again, you want to be careful not to break these because they are fragile. That was disconcerting when I put that on and made that sound. There's actually something over here on the side. Excellent. And then you put this piece on last. And that's how you don't break those. Like so. Now I'm going to put the vacuum bags and stuff in there. And this is a time where I'm going to tell you only use genuine Miele vacuum bags. And I have a link to my Amazon store below, and I have the proper bags if you just want to double check which ones they are. That's a good way of doing that. All right. They sure have changed these vacuum bags since this particular cleaner was made. In fact, I think this might be the first time I'm actually putting these newest generation bags in a cleaner. Take a look at them. Self-seal, airflow glides, really nice quality bag. This is a 5000 series or an S5, and you want to cut on the line that says S5, and it's kind of hard to see, but basically it's just this line here. So we're just going to cut that. So that goes right there. And you always want to change this every 4 bags. It's not every bag, it's every 4 bags. And the reason being is these bags shed a little bit of fuzz, and that catches the fuzz as well if you don't put the bag in right or something. Alright, well those clip right in. And I've got the Hepa filter coming. I don't have one right now, but this will get a Hepa filter, which we'll just click in here. So let's put everything together, and we're going to test the full bag check indicator on here. Everything feels super nice and premium with this machine, as it should. This was a $1,200 machine when it was new. So here's how we check the full bag check indicator, or how I do it, is I get a rag like this. Forgot the gasket. That was kind of weird when you don't have the gasket attached. I'm just putting a little lemon pledge on it to preserve the gasket and ease its insertion. So let's try that one more time. Now we have a gasket installed. Saw with the rag, the orange came on. So that means I can now put those final 2 screws in the lid, which I'm just gonna, believe it or not, we're just gonna do it like this. Well, thanks for watching my Miele S5 repair video, or Capricorn repair video. Give it a big thumbs up, and if this helped you, go to your local dealer, comment below. If you were, for whatever reason, inclined to try this at home after I told you not to, I'd love to hear from you as well. Have a wonderful day, and share this on your favorite social media platform.